They had an event to introduce the new Kollel and Shirat David. You should go check it out. It's amazing. And I got a chance to speak to Rabbi Bronstein afterwards, and the sheer knowledge and clarity and humility that came across was amazing. And I must have been crazy then not to book him right away for Fabrengen. But every time I had a chance to speak to Rabbi Bronstein since then, this initial feeling that I had has just gotten stronger and stronger. So I think that I can speak on behalf of everyone here that we're very excited to have Rabbi Bronstein here. I'm very honored to have Rabbi Bronstein here to share with us tonight.
Thank you, Rav Shloime. Thank you, Kiki. And I'm really very humbled to be here. This is my second Gimmel Tamuz Fabrengen in my entire life, and it's the first one where I was asked to speak. So it is a little bit daunting, especially after such a video, to be able to come here and express the word of Torah. I think it's pretty clear that I was not born a Chabadnik. I don't self-identify as a Chabadnik. But around 15 years ago, I sort of almost by accident, by Chabad, Rebbe would say, fell into learning Tanya, then fell into learning the Torah of the Rebbe, and I haven't really stopped over the course of the last 15 years. And before I say over my prepared remarks, I just want to say that one of the most exhilarating things for me personally, in addition to the Rebbe's Torah, which is something that energizes me daily, something which Baruch Hashem I've had a lot of time to think about and discuss, seeing Shluchim in action, seeing Rav Shloime and Kiki here, seeing Shluchim that I've met around the world, interacting with people in 770 at all hours of day and night, no matter what country they happen to be in or what country I happen to be in, is honestly one of the most inspiring and energizing things and one of the most energizing experiences I've had in my entire life. To have people that I know who work put in full days and they're up at 5 in the morning, not because they woke up at 5 in the morning, but they haven't gone to sleep yet, and then they call me to discuss something, and then I know they have 2 or 3 phone calls afterwards, and they're going to catch up 2 hours of sleep and then Dagen at 9 o'clock chakras. I know these people, and I know they do this on a regular basis, and it's just so inspirational to be able to be interacting, to be able to feel part of this movement, and feel part of Yisrael that there really has such people, and to feel connected to the Rebbe who inspire this entire thing. What I want to do in the next couple of minutes, first of all, people should feel free to walk out if they want to, just because it is getting a little bit late. I don't know exactly how long I'm supposed to speak for, so I guess we'll go. I can't drink because I'm driving back, so I'll try to keep my remarks as much as possible. I think Rav Shloime's end is a good segue to where we wanted to begin, which is that the Rebbe is one of these Gedolei Yisrael, one of these tzaddikim whose impact is felt more year after year. There are certain Gedolei Yisrael, there are certain tzaddikim, there are certain Talmidei Chachamim whose major impact was when they were alive. I can name some. The Maharshtam. Anybody here the Maharshtam? A major posek in Saloniki in the 1500s. He was from a family of Spanish Mugurashim. His family was kicked out of Spain the Inquisition. Came to Salonika, came to Greece, came to Turkey, was part of the Ottoman Empire. Was a major rub in that community, navigating how is a new community, a Spanish community, supposed to act, supposed to behave, supposed to recongregate on new shores. He was a tremendous posek, tremendous leader during this time period. Most people today have not heard of the Maharshtam. This is not to say anything bad about him. I'm saying certain people, their major impact is felt more when they're alive. The Rebbe, I think, as Rav Shloime said, is the opposite. The Rebbe started off with a small group of Hasidim in 1951, and the numbers just grew and grew and grew, and the impact just grew and grew and grew over the course of his lifetime. And in the last 30 years, the impact and the reach and the desire to become close and feel connected to the Rebbe has just grown exponentially. How many Orthodox rabbis have New York Times bestsellers written about it? I don't know. I know one. I think the Rebbe is the only one. There is a strong desire, which increases over the years, to feel connected to the Rebbe and to connect ourselves to the movement that the Rebbe started. So I want to try to highlight a couple of themes that the Rebbe himself spoke about that I feel lend themselves or help explain what the Rebbe's koach. Why is the Rebbe eternal? why is the rabbi becoming more and more influential in the years since his passing? These are certain themes in the Bible Rabbi Torah that speak to me personally, and we'll go through 1, 2, 3 examples. We'll do one, and then we'll see what happens. I want to start off the first one with the following statement. I think, you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think the Rebbe has the most well-known face in the history of Judaism, history of the Jewish people. Right? There's Moshe Rabbeinu probably was a very famous personality. And how many human beings saw Moshe Rabbeinu's face? We're talking about a time before photographs, before social media, before being able to hang out pictures on highways. There are very many famous Jews, and in their own community, they have famous faces. But the Rebbe, I think, has the most famous face in the history of the Jewish people. What's curious about that is that if you read the Rebbe's talks, if you listened to the Rebbe's talks, if you read the Rebbe's talks, if you read the Rebbe's Torah, what's fascinating is that the Rebbe hardly ever speaks in first person. We're talking about somebody who spoke publicly, according to the person Chabad or the Talmud number, for 11,000 hours. There are 70,000 pages of primary source material, which were culled from the Rebbe's own writings and from the Rebbe's speeches. We're talking about, I think, the single biggest output of any individual Jew, the biggest creator of written Torah in the history of Judaism. You would think, over the course of these 70,000 pages, of these 11,000 hours, the person who has the most famous face in the history of the Jewish people would speak about himself, would say something about I, tell stories about himself, describe what's going on the inside. But Rebbe assiduously avoided speaking in first person. In letters here and there, he was trying to make a point, the I comes out. In speeches, hardly ever. You probably count on 2 hands the number of times he used the word I in public speeches. And if you contrast that with some of the other Gedolei Yisrael in the 20th century, the contrast becomes clear. Of Soloveitchik, you can go through his drushos, in Marsh here, he gets Marsh here. You go through his lectures, his sermons, his drushos, he is constantly speaking about what is happening inside of him, religious experience. What does davening mean to him? What does learning mean to him? What was it like to grow up in a shtetl in Eastern Europe? And he uses the first person to a lot of power. It makes the ideas and the feelings resonate a lot more. If anybody's read Rav Kook's diaries, Rav Kook's diaries are filled with first person passages. He didn't want all of them published. A lot of the times when they were published, they were changed to third person. But the original diaries, he's speaking about himself, what's happening on the inside of him, time and time again. With the Rebbe, unless they're going to find some other notebook in Dal 70 somewhere, there is hardly ever an instance where he speaks in first person. So the contrast is unbelievable. You have the person that is the most famous person in the history of the Jewish people. He spoke for the largest number of hours of anybody ever in the history of the Jewish people. There is the largest the largest corpus, the body of Torah, created by anybody in the Jewish people. But he never speaks about himself. Never speaks in I. He doesn't exist in the conceptual structure of his own talks. And what's even more curious about this is that it's not like the Rebbe avoids intellectual biographies. If anybody here is familiar with the Rebbe's Torah, he from Avraham Avinu, really from Adam, start with Avraham Avinu, all the way down to the Fabrengen Rebbe, all the way down to his father and his father-in-law and the Rebbe, people that he himself personally knew. He has tons of intellectual biographies. What was the Yisod, the Avodah of Avraham Avinu? What was the Fabrengen Rebbe like? What did the Rebbe bring to the world? It's not like the Rebbe's Torah is always in third person about Torah concepts. The Rebbe speaks about people and biographies, intellectual biographies, spiritual biographies all the time. And yet, if you trace the Rebbe's Torah from Avraham Avinu all the way down to himself, you have person, tzaddik, and yet once you get to the death of the Fabrengen Rebbe and his own taking over, what does he transition to? 6 tzaddikim of Chabad, the 7th generation. From Basi Legani Tafshin Yud Aleph, in the first talk the Rebbe gave as a Rebbe, all the way through to 1992 when he stopped speaking, the 7th generation of Chabad doesn't have a tzaddik, doesn't have a Rebbe. There is the Fabrengen Rebbe, the 6th Rebbe, the 6th tzaddik of Chabad, and then there is the 7th generation. The Rebbe excised himself. He cut himself out of his own talks. The Rebbe has a complete conceptual structure of the entire history of the world. And yet, in terms of personalities, it stops with the Fabrengen Rebbe. When it gets to his generation, it is always about the generation, the Dor Shvi. Yesh davar b'go. Something curious here. The most famous personality picture is the most well known. but yet he doesn't exist from in the structure of his own Torah.